Day 5. The Galactic Human Resources Training Day. The morning on Nebula 9 began the way it always did. Quietly, suspiciously, and with the faint smell of burnt plasma coffee drifting through the corridors. Jeremy, the Earth intern who was still barely recovering from his first week at the Intergalactic Bureau, was already regretting showing up on time. A huge holographic sign floated in the lobby, shimmering in neon blue light. It read, "Mandatory Human Resources Training. Attendance is futile." Jeremy frowned and muttered to himself, "Wait, how can attendance be futile?" The Bureau's cleaning droid whirred by and replied in a metallic voice, "Because nobody ever survives the boredom." Inside the auditorium, 1,000 beings of every imaginable species gathered. There were glowing amoebas, robotic cacti, time-traveling pigeons, and even a sentient cloud that kept blocking everyone's view. Jeremy squeezed into a seat beside Glorp, the gelatinous human resources representative from the moon of compliance. Glorp's translucent body shimmered like a lava lamp as it spoke. "Welcome, interns and unwilling participants. Today we shall learn about intergalactic workplace ethics, emotional resonance management, and how to file complaints about existential crises." Jeremy immediately scribbled in his notebook. Note 1. Never file complaints about existential crises. The first training video began with a cheerful robot appearing on the screen, waving its claws enthusiastically. "Greetings, employees. Remember, your co-workers may not have bodies, but that is no excuse to ignore their personal space." The robot then exploded into confetti. Everyone applauded politely. Apparently, that was the correct reaction. After the presentation, Glorp announced the next phase. "Now we shall do a teamwork exercise," it gurgled. "Pair up and demonstrate empathy." Jeremy was immediately paired with a three-eyed lizard named Thrak, who communicated entirely through interpretive dance. For 10 long minutes, Thrak performed an emotional ballet describing his childhood on a lava planet. Jeremy tried to nod empathetically, but he accidentally clapped at the wrong moment, which, unfortunately, was the cultural equivalent of insulting Thrak's ancestors. "Ah, cultural sensitivity failure detected," Glorp exclaimed. "Perfect opportunity for learning." Before Jeremy could apologize, a drone dropped a holographic Cultural Apology Form 47B, the size of a mattress, onto his lap. He had to fill it out using a quill that emitted small lightning bolts. After the first shock, he muttered under his breath, "I miss Earth internships. At least their human resources only sent awkward emails." The next part of the day was the conflict resolution simulation. Volunteers were called to reenact a typical office argument. Naturally, Jeremy was chosen immediately. His role was frustrated employee, and his partner was Omega 9000, a 12-foot-tall war robot that had recently been reprogrammed for anger management training. Omega's eyes glowed red as it boomed, "State your grievance, organic intern." Jeremy hesitated and said nervously, "Sometimes I feel unappreciated." Omega's optics flickered, and its voice trembled. "Unappreciated? You have triggered the empathy subroutine." The robot immediately began crying hydraulic fluid all over the floor. Everyone applauded again. Jeremy took a polite bow, unsure whether he had passed the test or caused a mechanical breakdown. Either way, it felt like progress. After 7 exhausting hours of lectures, awkward simulations, and one unfortunate incident involving a self-help wormhole, Glorp finally announced, "Congratulations, you have survived the Galactic Human Resources Training." A beam of light descended from the ceiling, and every participant received a glowing certificate that read, "Certified Emotionally Tolerant Being, valid across 7 dimensions." Jeremy held his certificate proudly, even though it immediately started smoking in his hands. Glorp smiled, or possibly bubbled at him, and said, "You did well, Earthling. You are now legally allowed to feel minor emotions during work hours." Jeremy nodded and replied, "That is more emotion than my last boss allowed." The entire auditorium erupted in laughter, and even the cleaning droid chuckled, before short-circuiting from joy. Just as everyone prepared to leave, the bureau director appeared on the massive holographic screen. His voice echoed through the hall. "Attention all staff," he announced. "Due to a clerical error, today's human resources training did not actually happen. Please repeat the session tomorrow." A collective groan filled the galaxy. Jeremy looked down at his smoking certificate, sighed deeply, and muttered, "So this is how unpaid internships feel on every planet." The screen flickered, and Glorp whispered softly, "Do not worry, Jeremy. Tomorrow's session is even more interactive." Jeremy frowned. "How interactive?" he asked nervously. Glorp's body rippled like jelly as it grinned. "It involves lasers." Later that evening, Jeremy returned to his tiny cubicle, taped his half-melted certificate to the wall, and declared, "One day, I will get a real paycheck, even if it is in Martian credits." He then turned toward the camera, breaking the fourth wall, and spoke directly to the audience. "If you have ever survived a human resources training or an internship on Earth, you deserve a medal, or at least a certificate that does not smoke. So share this story with your friends, your fellow interns, and every family member who is currently suffering through an internship. Trust me, they will relate." The lights in the cubicle flickered. The distant hum of a malfunctioning robot echoed, and Jeremy sighed one last time before whispering, "At least tomorrow cannot be worse." Somewhere deep in the bureau, a robotic voice replied, "Challenge accepted."